just record it anyway. All right, so for the folks who are on Zoom, okay, feel free to interrupt me if you have questions. It's probably easier if you just talk, okay, because I probably didn't see the message promptly. All right, so we want to focus on the UI implementation. The videos I provided, it works. You can find tons of other videos, probably even better than mine and newer ones. There's so many resources, I don't need to point it out. But what I want to show you today is a very, in my opinion, a very easy way to follow to make some of the UI applications. Okay, and also I really want to highlight, as I told in the first week, you must use ChatGPT. Okay, I might be different from other professors. You should actually use ChatGPT to help with your project because that's going to be a lot faster than before. Okay, we never tried this before. And as you start using ChatGPT, you will realize that it does help you to get a lot of code generated, but you have still be able to understand all the framework stuff. That's why you don't need to worry about the AI will replace the coders. No, if you understand code, you use ChatGPT very well, very effectively, then your efficiency got boosted a lot. Okay, so I highly recommend everyone. Okay, so use ChatGPT as much as you can. Okay, to try to figure out how to improve your productivity. Okay, so very exciting. All right, so anyway, coming back to this topic. So I assume everyone got your design, their wireframe. Is that right? Okay, very good. So focus on the UI first. Okay, so don't worry too much about implementation. Okay, for this week, next week, just do the UI, put the dummy data, and don't worry about the backend that where the data come from. Yes.
Do you have any advice for someone who's like not that skilled at UI?
Oh, you mean which?
Designing like that, not a good designer.
Me either. Well, so that's we never expect to train everyone on very good on UI because most of the team they have the UI designers and graphic designer. Most of them they're coming from art major. Okay, it's totally fine. But my experience is that if you don't know how to do good UI, copy from good models. Look at how the other apps been doing, use their design, use their templates, right? So these days, I don't know if you use this, but if you build some of the web application, okay, so you might go to just find a lot of HTML templates. Go with templates. Very rarely you actually go to, code everything yourself. Okay, so like this is that I often go. They have a lot of templates. Some of those are really cheap. Okay, this one like let's try this one. This is something called a Metronic, but it's more generic. It actually works with a lot of web front end. Okay, so you can actually see what the template looks like, and they have so many demos for you to use. Okay, so something like this. Or you want to build a marketing like dashboard, things like this. This is a real like demo. Okay, it's coded. It's not just designs. Um, so if you want something like this, you just get a template. So it's already there. All you need to do is modify it and plug in your data. And same thing for mobile, right? So if you go Flutter, UI templates, and there are also a lot of those. I guess one of good side maybe still coming back here. This is a Flutter 5. This is particular for online banking. Okay, so you can probably take a look. They have all this designs for you. You got the code and the template's already implemented. Okay, so you could actually get a template directly, or you just borrow some designs. Okay, again, if you're not good at UI design, I wouldn't spend too much time on it. Okay, because drawing that from scratch is not that easy. All right. So anyway, so we focus on coding. All right. So at this point, I don't want to overwhelm you. Just do the UI first. Okay. Just totally forget about backend. As long as you can make all the UI working with dummy data, that's a really important step. I think that's probably it takes 60-70% of the whole project. The data part actually isn't that bad. And then speaking of UI, all you need to figure out are two things. Okay. The layout, how you manage the positions, and the widgets, okay, based on what you want to show, buttons, images, scroll bar, list view, those, just the two things. That's all about UI. Any kind of mobile or UI system that, with a graphic UI, just, design, it's basically two things, okay? But normally I would suggest you start with layout, because if the layout is fixed, then you can plug in or fill in the widgets, okay? So that's it. So that's why this is the 5 step I summarize for everyone to follow when you code your UI. If you don't know where to get started, okay, so you already have the design here. Okay, let's start from the screens one by one. Every screen simply follow these 5 steps. Okay, first of all, you need to have your design, which you already have. And then you should follow the top-down implementation. I have one of the video talk about this one. I will repeat that again. And then let's implement it layout first, and then fill in the widgets. Once that is ready, then you start to polish the UI, including the making the margins, getting the colors, styles, all the details. Try to touch those details to make it better. And that's it. All right. So let's dive into an example. This is something I've highlighted. Okay, any of those, try to use ChatGPT to help you. Okay, what I find useful is to let ChatGPT to give you the simplest possible example instead of giving everything. You can't just let okay, show me a code to do a login screen. I don't think that helps too much in the beginner because you don't, it's too much code. Okay, you have to understand. Always ask ChatGPT to give you the hello world example. So that you can see the core part of the code that you can directly copy and paste and use in your code application. Another part that's very helpful in the UI is to ask about some of the specific features. Okay, so for example, how can I change the color of the text? How can I add a border for my input box? How do I make the icon buttons? How do I make the corners round? Things like those. A very specific feature or attributes you are wondering. In the traditional way, you might need to just Google around and look at the pages. Now the ChatGPT probably can give you the answer more directly. Okay, so always use that one to speed up your development. Okay. Yes, Kevin. So that it's not a really clear definition. If your function of the button simply just do navigation, go to the next screen, I think that's probably just part of UI. But most of the time when I talk about data, it's about the backend. Okay, if you deal with the databases, I will hold on that one a little bit. All right, so let's just go through an example. I was just Googling around this little UI here as a profile page, okay, for doctor appointment. Okay, so we just focus on the middle one, this one here. Okay, one screen, very standard UI. It's vertical. You got a doctor profile, name and icon, and some of the text or the reading, some of the buttons here, and the 4 bigger little boxes to show text and icons, and finally you have a big button at the bottom. All right, pretty typical design. A lot of things going on, and looks pretty nice and polished. All right, so let's see how do we implement this one. All right, and all right, so back to the step. Okay, so now we got a design here. And then now we do the top-down implementation. When I say top-down, is that for this design, it looks like very complicated, okay? But you want to break it down from a higher level. Okay, so what I mean by that is that because it's a lot of things going on, you need to figure out what are the big like areas for this UI. In other words, like how many top level modules or parts for this UI. So, if you look at this one, since it's vertical, what I might do is to split them like this, okay? Because this will be probably one area, and then this maybe a button area, and obviously these ones, are another area, and then finally you have a button, okay? And here at the top, we'll consider that the bar, okay? So we'll put that in the app bar, okay? So I might just split the UI into this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 components or 5 modules, whatever you call it. And so, but think about the layout. So each part of it, they have more detailed widgets. There are text and icons, images, and there are different boxes. But first of all, you have to decide the big areas, allocate the space for every component. Okay, because no matter what you do inside, you need to make sure every module will have its own space and its own height. So go from there. It's almost like you plan and build a campus, okay? You're not gonna go to start putting all the desks and tables. It doesn't make any sense. Okay, you start first design the big picture, landscape. Okay, so this area is for education, this is for residents, this is for admin offices. Those big areas first. And then for education, then we have a college and department, and these two buildings are for college of science, that building is for business, and this area is for more for agriculture. So similar design. Okay, do the big planning and then dive into the details. All right. So now with that, we need to set up the layout. Okay, so let me actually go back to the code. Let's try to code this really quickly. All right, so I am going to do just a new screen, or maybe I'm just going to use this account screen. Okay, because this one kind of fits that pretty well. So as I mentioned, the title bar. Okay, we have the title bar here. And I'm just gonna hard code it. Okay, this one is doctor's profile. Make sure this one works. Okay, doctor profile, and that's gonna represent this top bar here. I'm not gonna code it. Okay, we're gonna start from these areas. Okay, right now, and we have some dummy data here, some tags, some numbers. I'm gonna delete the numbers because we don't need that. All right, and we also have the bottom navigation bar. I'm gonna get rid of that one since we don't really need that in this app. All right, just get it simple, clean. And then the good thing is that this one already has a column. Okay, if you're not sure how to use a column, basically just Google ChatGPT and try to figure out. This is the most important layout. Okay, every single app you cannot do that without column layout, because column manages things vertically, puts things one by one. For example, you have two taxes. If I add another one, and then if you refresh, all of this will be showing up vertically one by one. And this fits mobile layout very well because most of the time you use your phone vertically. So that's why most of the design, you cannot do that without column layout. Okay, so this will be our root. Okay, but now we are talking about the next level. We have 5 portions of here. Okay, now you're not going to start putting the text and icon because not just one thing. There are 2 texts here, 1 icon. There's 3 buttons with icons. There are 4 boxes. Okay, let's not worry about that. And then you still build another level of a container or another level of layout. So that's why you dive into here. Let's look at the first level. Now this level has 3 things. Okay. Now, if you look at the layout, all right, one way I can think about is to consider that as a row or horizontal layout, because on the left, okay, they have 2 taxes, and on the right there is one, image or icon, right? So in that way, you could consider this area. Actually, I can start to use a horizontal layout. In Flutter, it's called a row, okay, versus column. So again, if you're not sure about what the row or columns are, you definitely need to look at the tutorials and then start learning that as soon as you can. Okay, so that means this part, I'll probably consider this area as a row. Okay, and then similar way, this part looks like it's another column. Okay, so I'll put that one as a column. All right, and a similar way, this is a row because they're horizontal. And this, I'll probably, because you can do either way, but I'll probably do column first. And finally, that one just a button. It's not anything. This one is just a button. All right, so that's the very high level design. Okay, so with that, I'm gonna put everything inside. Okay, so we have a row. Well, this is the code generated from the Copilot. Okay, it's kind of nice that it's actually even give you the name and doctor name, because kind of trying to learn this is doctor profile. Okay, so it's nice. Okay, but I probably I'll leave it there. Okay, because it's too fast. I wanna hold back a little bit. Okay, this thing getting too advanced. This is a row and then column, row, column. Yeah, this thing is too advanced. All right, so 3 and 4, and finally we have a button. Okay. For button, again, if you're not sure how to do a typical button, so I'll just go to Flutter, sorry, ChatGPT, just generate a hello world code example to implement a simple button in Flutter. The problem, the more you use, the more you'll figure out what will be the best way to do it. But I will always highlight the hello world example because it just make sure to generate the code in a simple way. Now, like this one is not the best example because it's actually give you a lot of things, and also it's actually split the button into different class. Okay, so good and bad, but as you look at this example, you still have to understand the structure. Okay, the things I talked about in day one or week one. Import, this is the main function. You got an app. You need to understand the widgets. You have to inheritance the parent class. You have to understand the scaffold, material app. That's the UI style. What is app bar? What is body? Okay, those things you have to understand. And then they have this hello button, which comes from another class. So what I normally do is that just do one class. Please merge the hello button example class into the body of the scaffold class, and just show a print statement in the on press function. Just try to make it simpler. All right, so see, I like the shorter code because that way you can see the key part. I don't know why it's not highlighting the color, okay? But scaffold, app bar, body, center, this is all you're seeing, and they have an elevated button. Okay, this is the part that we need. All right, so just grab that and then put back here to my code. All right, so then I'm gonna delete the remaining parts here. All right, so with that, let's actually try the code. All right, so you got a one button here. You have a lot of things above that one, but you can't see it because they're just layout containers. Okay, it's not visible. All right, now back to the design. Here is something called a request for appointment. So that one is easy to do. So you're gonna do request for appointment. All right, so that's the button. Okay, but then we really can't see it. Now, one thing you should need to know is that in the IDE, they have a way for you to check. Yeah, they can show you all the widgets you implement, and also, I remember they can somehow show you the layout. Yeah, this one. See, this one they start to give you the lines and everything, so you can better decide how it looks like. But again, the problem with all the rows and columns is that they're not visible, so it's very hard for you to manage and code it. So one thing you can do next is just put in a dummy widget there so that it can show something, right? So in that case, this is going to be children. All right, so I'm going to use this one for now. Okay, so both rows and columns, they can have multiple subchild. So that's why you use children. And it's a list of widgets, so you can put anything you want. All right, so I'm going to refresh. So that's the first row here. And then the column, we're going to do the same thing, and which is also children. This is just a dummy like text, very simple. And then refresh. So that's the second column. And then for the next one, it's a row. So we do a children. All right. This one here. And next one is another column. Here we do a children. All right. So the content here showing doesn't matter. No, we just want to get some placeholder. So that way, because you decided there's a row column, at least you can see it right now. Okay. So that's the first step. Now with that, let's actually try to clean up the code. I'm going to throw this one here. All right. So that should be everything we have. All right. For Kevin's question, the main Dart file. The main Dart file is just a main method. Okay. You probably just, every file should only has one page. You know, you should, every page, every UI should deserve a separate file. All right, so let's continue. Okay, so back to this design here. Okay, so top-down design. Now, when I say top-down design, once you split the portion, very important you gave them the space, because you can see this part here takes the majority of space, where these ones take the remaining spaces. So you should try to allocate the area first, just like on campus. You know, you gave the planning for all the different purposes of the land. Okay, so but then most of the time you do this one by ratio, okay, by percentage. For example, this area looks like it's taking almost half of the screen. So I'll probably give them like 45% of the screen. And looks like these are all the same. Or maybe we consider this one also as the same. So the four of them gonna split the 55%. Okay, let's just make it simpler. Okay, this will be 40%. Okay, then in that case, this all will be 15%. All right. So then that's going to be a question, how do you do that? So that's why the column can really help you with that. All right. So to show you this one, all right. So one thing you really need to know as you use column is that you can add something called expanding. Okay, that's something keyword you really need to know. Let me show you the example. So let's say if I go here, okay. So this part here, the fourth module is going to take most of the space. All right, so I'm gonna turn this one a little bit bigger, okay, to make it take more space. So one thing you can do is wrap this in with something called expanded. All right, expanded. If I show you the example, you will see it. All right, so it's basic. It's like expand the height or width to make sure it actually takes all the space, and it's contains one single child. So you're gonna move this one, the column, okay, into here. All right. So if I do this, let's refresh and see what happens. See, immediately this fourth area, this column takes all the spaces. That's called expanded. Okay, expanded to the maximum area or height as possible. Okay, so the expanded is really important. Okay, it's very useful. Okay, simply just fill in everything. Okay, but then this is not fair because you actually take all the spaces. So let's say if you use it, expand it for multiple things, then what happens, right? So if I want to expand also for the second one, sorry, for the third one, which is above that, I can still do the same thing. Now, whenever you do this kind of expand, you will see that you have to create a new class and then put this under the child. It's a pretty lot of code changes, right? So in Android Studio, you really want to use this feature. Okay, so right click, you do generate, no, it's actually here. Okay, use this little button here. All right, so this one automatically recognize your context, see what you might want to wrap. Okay, because in Flutter, you need to do this kind of wrapping very frequently. So I want to wrap with an expanded. It doesn't have it, so we're gonna do expand wrap with a widget. All you need to do is type that widget name, which is expanded. All right. So that way, you see, you don't have to do the copy, paste, and move, cut, right? So it automatically do that for you. So now I make the third one also expanded. So there are two things expanded. Let's see what happens if I refresh. All right. The third portion and the fourth portion, they both are expanded. That's why they got a maximum height. But now they actually share the height. You see, they got both like almost half the screen. But then they're not like it got the other one with disappear. You still give the minimum space required for the others. It's just this two, you got a majority of the spaces. So that's how the expanding works. So if you do this one for everyone, let's say if I go this one here. Also, wrap with expanded. This one, it does the same thing. All right, and also the button also need to be expanded. All right, so refresh. Now you see everybody got expanded, so they all share the whole screen. All right, now you're allocating the space to everyone. Okay. So that's a lot better because now you don't need to worry about is everybody center, how do we manage the space? Let's just allocate the space first. That way the screen. The nice thing about doing this one is that it makes sure the UI works with any kind of a size of screen. You're not hard coding anything, right? So you're just talking about just expand them. All right, but we have different ratios. Okay, so 15, 15, 15, 40, and 15. All right, so with that, it's going to be very easy to add them. Okay, so you could if you don't know how to do it, okay, you go back here, okay, generate hello world example to show how to use Flutter column layout to specify the mm, uh, the height. Yeah, you gotta put the prompt in a very effective way to give different weights of the height for its children. All right, try that. Normally, even though you feel your prompt isn't really perfect, and they can pretty much get that idea and give, yeah. So they did mention about using expanded and then had a flex property. Okay, you can read the explanation, but I would just normally go ahead to see the code. And the nice thing about hardware example, they don't have all the other extra things. They always start from material app and scaffold app or body, and then now they have a column. That's something we have same, and they have children, and the children have all the expanded ones. This one has a container, and there's the text expanded, the same thing as we do. But you see, they have this extra attribute called flex, and then number that takes 2 parts of the space, takes 3 parts of space, and takes 1 part of space. Okay, so they even have a comment here for you to explain, so to understand. So they also have the explanation here you can read. Right, so this is really cool. Okay, it's much faster than you Google whether it's the Flutter development document or the Stack Overflow. Okay, so with that, you can actually see, oh, the flags actually helps. So we'll go back here. Let's do the same thing. So this one is going to have a flex. This is going to take a 15. Okay, and the second one, 15. Third one, also 15. And the next one is going to be 40. And then last one, also 15. All right, so let's see what happens. Now I refresh the page again. All right, so 15, 15, 15, 40. And the other one also 15. All right. So with that, you kind of finish the first step. Okay, you kind of allocate everything to its areas. So then you can work on the sub areas. Every sub area, you do the exactly same thing. You might need to split them into more children, but same way, just allocate the spaces. All right. Because that way you don't need to worry about the size of the screen, and you don't need to worry about they're going to interact with each other because everyone got their fixed area. You can only put the things inside. That's called top-down design. Okay, just again thinking about building a big campus, how you actually go with the areas one by one. All right, so I'm going to speed up a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to work on these areas one by one. Let's start from the first one. Okay, so the first one, look at the design. It's a horizontal one because this part, there are 2 taxes. You could still do another column, but before that, you should realize that this is from a higher level, this is actually a row because it's horizontal. Okay, so let's do the horizontal first. There's a text and also there is an image. So going back to the first one, so this is a row. They already put 2 children for us. There's the text. The other one is an icon, right? So first of all, let's actually figure out how to do the icon. So this one will be a little icon image. Okay, let's actually see what the ChatGPT can tell us. Show a hello world example how to code a simple icon image for the yeah. All right, we're just looking for the things we need. Okay, looks like they have something called icon. All right, so icon, favorites, color, size. Okay, let's just try it anyway. Okay, of course you can still go to Google and look at all the documentation. But I just feel this is a probably much faster way for us to prototype certain things and test all things. Okay, so for the icon here, let's go to here. All right, so they got a little icon here. Okay, now I'm sure we can probably change this one, or maybe you just need the image. All right, so it doesn't matter. Okay, so we can probably see if there anything else. Maybe profile or account. Yeah, maybe I'll do this one. Again, just placeholder. Okay, so later on we can still change it. All right, that's one. And then the things that's not like a design is that these two tags, one doctor name, the other one is specialty. They are vertical, right? So that means these two also need to have a column, right? So with that, I'm gonna code another column. All right, so I'm just gonna use this. So this one here, I don't need it. So the first one is doctor's name. And the second one is all right. So I'm gonna run this one. Now you see this has the vertical doctor name and specialty, and then there's the icon. All right, but the layout is kind of messed up, right? So we go back design, see this part should take more space and this one takes less. And then we do the same thing. Let's expand them and then give the different ratio because this part probably takes 70% of screen. This part takes 30%. Okay, so ratio. So before you do that, you need to add the expanding. And then this one also. Expand it. All right, so let's see what it looks like. They are going to equally split the screen. All right, now go flex. This one takes 70. The number doesn't matter. You can also do 7 and 3. Okay, so what matters is the ratio. All right, so see doctor name takes longer, and then this one takes less. Okay, so now it's getting closer to what we're looking for. One thing we might want to fix that this two is goes to the up, and then it's not like a center. It's not center. Okay, so in that way, because they're under a column. Okay, so we need to figure out how do we center everything in a column. So maybe ask ChatGPT how to center all the children in a column in Flutter. Let's see what they provide. All right, they started exploring this main nexus alignment. Let's just look at the code. Perfect example, really short, concise, just show you that one column, and this is obviously what we need. All right, let's just try that. Column, main axis alignment, and put that at center. Okay, so refresh. All right, this thing got center. So it's that easy. All right. Now, obviously, you can read the document, understand, but most of the attributes are very self-explanatory. Okay, just talking about the main axis alignment. Okay, so that's why the ChatGPT really speed up. Otherwise, you go to Google, it's gonna take probably 5 times longer. All right, let's move on. Now I'm gonna stop here because you might see, oh, this is the bowl, the size is bigger, and this is the nicer doctor image. We'll come back later. Okay, that's called polishing. Let's finish everything first and then come back to those. All right. So the next section is this. So the some stars, reading bar, text and text, but they're all vertical. Okay, so this one is easy. So going back to here, the next portion. Once I finish the first one, I'm gonna close that. This one. Oh wait, this is this one. Okay, let me actually close all of them because so that's the pain part. Okay, when you work with Flutter, Dart, everything is in code. It's too much, getting longer and longer. So just use IDE to help you. Okay, we're gonna work on the second part. Let me open it. The second part right now, there are only two texts. We also need a reading bar. Okay, I don't know how we do a reading bar. I never tried that. I know in Android we have a reading bar. So how to code a Flutter reading bar UI component. Okay, so they actually use a row of icons. I don't know if that's the final way to do it. Okay, there might be some uh, existing library that you can put there. Yeah, so see this one, they implement their own, and they created their own like a reading bar. There's icon button. You generate actually 5 buttons. You know, it looks like it's working. I mean, we can try. So just to show you an example that, you know, because the reading bar looks like it's not implemented by default. So they actually implement their own. And from the code, you can pretty much see the idea that you use a list to generate 5 of the icon buttons. So they still consider them as icon. Every icon, you have a amber color, and then you have the star or border. Okay, so this, I'm not sure it's going to work, but I think it's not that hard. So I'm going to put it. Since it's an extra class, you're gonna put it at the bottom here, okay? All right, so this is reading bar, and I'm gonna put a reading bar at the tops just to see what happens. All right, so hopefully that works. That I cannot guarantee. All right, it looks good. All right, so reading bar, 5 icons, and each one of these icon buttons, you can click on it. Yeah, see? But I think you will need more work, but not bad. See, you know, if I click on here, it just light up everything. Okay, wow, this is really fast. Okay, so otherwise, think about you code this one, it's probably take you the whole morning to code the whole thing. All right, very nice. So we're pretty much done here. Okay, but it's not centered, not centered. That we already figured out, right? So go to column, main axis alignment, and then we go center. Refresh. All right, this part got centered. Finish. Move on to the next one. Look at the design. Next one, easy. Okay, so row 3 icon buttons. Okay, so let's go to the third one. And I already have 2 texts. Okay, so here, go back to ChatGPT. Show me a hello world example on how to code a Flutter icon button. So you use the icon button. I think we use that in the reading part right here. So that's what we need. So it's icon button with icon, color, size, and non-press. Copy, paste. Going back to the code. Let me test it first. It's icon button, refresh. That works. And I'm gonna do 3 of them. All right, so pretty much the same thing as the reading bar. Okay. But then again, look at the design. Okay, they're horizontal. Okay, so they should split the space. Okay, so let's do a very simple expand it. Expand everyone. Refresh. All right, so they go to different areas. Pretty much what we're looking for. Okay, and all you need to do is change this one. Okay, so there are camera, phone, and chat. All right, so oh no, that's not a camera. What is that? Report. All right, so search button, icon button, you can click on this, and then you should be good. Next one. So 4 boxes. Okay, so this one is like 4 areas, and it's still a column, right? 2 rows, and every column you got a row. Okay, and there also a UI called maybe a grid layout you can try, but that's something I want to show you. Okay, so in Flutter for the layout, okay, so you have probably a lot of layout possible. Let's see. So layouts in Flutter, and they have all the, see, that's the challenging part. Okay, you want to see what kind of layouts there. So let me go here. Okay, please list all the possible layout in Flutter. So container, row, column, stack. Okay, wrap. Grid view. This is something you can do for this one. Okay, list view, expanded, all of this. Okay, but a lot of those. But what I'm trying to show you is that, well, some of these are not really like layout, like expanded. Like what I'm talking more is column, row, stack, and grid view, list view. So these are the kind of a layout. But you don't have to learn everything. Okay, pretty much everything can be using column and rows. You can always do vertical, horizontal. That's it. Okay. So don't worry about the others. Just using column and rows should be enough. Okay, let's go back here. So we're working on it's the 4th one. So I'm going to open this. I have some placeholder. So first of all, I need to put 2 columns. Okay, let's do a column. Okay, see if we can generate something. All right. Well, this one they miss a quote. All right, I think something wrong. Well, that's not good. They don't even get a correct. All right, so that's one column. And then another column. So you really want to be careful about the code, okay? Make sure the alignment, indentations are correct. Whenever you see something wrong, try to fix it right away, okay? Because otherwise it's getting harder to fix. Yeah, I think that code we generate up there is not good. Okay, so let me make sure. Let's actually make sure this one all works. So we're missing one more parenthesis. All right, that works. Okay, so just very careful when you work on the code. Otherwise, it's a mess up very quickly. Okay, try to definitely fix it. Use all these expansions to help yourself. Okay, so now I got 2 columns. Oh wait, I got too much text here. Let me just remove this. Okay, so there are 2 columns. And then in this case, the 2 columns, this column, they're gonna split the space. So half and half. So very simple, we're gonna do expanding. You don't have to do the flex because they're just split equally. All right, so one column and the other column. And then every column, you also know there is a row, right? So because this column had 2 things in a row, let's do 2 rows. All right, so instead of this, I'm gonna do a row. And another row. I'll copy the same thing. Right, refresh. All right, so 2 things. Oh wait, sorry. So the 2 columns. Oh, sorry, my bad. It's actually 2 rows. I messed that up. Okay, so I got confused. Okay, so this one is a column, The column should directly contains two rows. Okay, so I think I just totally like okay, so let me see how can I fix it. So this is a column, this one should be a row, and then the other one should be a row. Okay, so all I need to do is actually I'll do this one and this one here. Okay, let me try to fix it. Okay. So I'm gonna delete the whole thing. And this one here, I'll use the rows to help. All right, so it looks like that's correct. Another way you can do is let the IDE to fix it. There is something called yeah, this one, reformat the code. Okay, so they can do this. Sometimes it's not, it's okay, sometimes not perfect. Yeah, this one looks like they do a good job. Okay, but again, this is too much, too long, guys. This one you gotta be very careful. Okay, otherwise it's very easy to make mistakes. Okay, I'm just gonna close those so that way we focus on here. All right, so there are two rows. Okay, so let's see. Going back. Two rows. Okay, so the first row and the second row. And every row, first of all, you gotta expand them. Let me do this again. Refresh. Two rows. And then every row, you should have two columns because this one is a vertical column and this one is a vertical column. So that's how I got reversed. Okay, so we don't need this one here. Let's actually show a column at the children. And then this one here does the same thing. One column, two columns. All right, see, so a big column, one row, second row, and every row there one column, second column. And the only thing else left is to expand the column so that they can be sharing the space. It's basically the same thing. We can use it again and again. That's one. All right, so that's what we're looking for. Okay, so you can do the same, the rest for this one. I'm gonna wait because this one is going to be just duplicates. Okay, I'll just work on this one first. Okay, this one, and you look at the design, there's also an icon and then two texts. Okay, we already have two texts. All we need to do is another icon. Same as the icon. Why it's not generating the code? All right. What's wrong with this? Let me go to the other example. The downside about using too much ChatGPT is that you don't really remember anything. Okay, so you just so we have icons on here. Yeah, this one. Icons. Okay, so I got it wrong. So let's actually copy this one over. Refresh. So that's the one. Okay, for one box. Okay, and then let's make sure we center them. Main axis alignment, center, refresh. So this part got centered. Okay, that's pretty much what we're looking for. Okay, icon is a number and patience. Okay, so this is a number. Here is patience. All right, so that's the kind of thing we're looking for. Okay, with that, I'm going to copy paste everything. Okay, so this is going to be one column. Okay, and then we're going to replace the other one. All right, and then all we need to do is just duplicate this whole thing. This row. And then, yeah, and then replace this whole part here. All right, refresh, and we're done. Okay, so two more rows here. But you know, if you see the example, all you've been using again and again are columns and rows and expanded and flex. That's pretty much its alignment. Okay, it looks simple, but it really does everything you need. All right, and finally you got a button. Okay, and the button we kind of already got it. All right, yeah. So with that, you kind of finish the step 3 and 4. Yeah, that's pretty much everything you need. And finally, you just need to go to polishing them. And that's probably going to take a little bit longer, but again, hopefully the ChatGPT will help you more, okay? That's going to take a little bit more effort, but we just do that one by one. So let's first of all, let's actually close all of this, okay? Because this is really hard to manage, okay? Again, 5 portion here. Maybe we'll work on the buttons first, okay? Because this button, you know, the problem is that number one, we need to have some margins, okay? Margin is very important. You need that all the time, okay? So go to ChatGPT, okay? How to add margins to a button. Okay, so they said about wrapping with a padding widget or use a container widget. Okay, so this is a padding widget. And then again, only focus on the code that you're looking for. Okay, this part is the same. This is the button, and then it wrap that with the padding. So all the Flutter and Dart works by wrapping stuff. Okay, this is the padding. And then this is the container. All right. Then you can see the difference between the margin, the container in ChatGPT, you know, you'll figure it out. Okay, but in general, in this case, we actually use containers. Okay, so I think both will work. Let's just try. Okay, containers, you wrap that with a container, and then you can add a margin. See, they put a comments to highlight what you need. All right, so if you go to the code, whenever you want to wrap something, use the code to help you. Okay, wrap with container, and it just does it. So if you only wrap a container like this, nothing happens. Okay, it's just another level of container. But with a container, you have some nice specifications. Like this is a margin, and I have the Copilot, so it's just gave me this automatically. Okay, so that means you're adding the margin to every edges, and you give it 10, what is pixel or whatever unit they use. Okay, so refresh. Let's see what happens. All right, so see, there's some spaces here. Now, if you close this one, if you close this, there's an error. Oh, it's overflow. Let's not worry about that one, but let me see how do I close that. We cannot disable that. All right. Interesting. Yeah, I'm not gonna debug this one, okay? But anyway, you see that little the blue here, just show you the space. Because you add a margin, this margin actually put that space to every side of the button. So that way it's not gonna touch the the whole area. So if you gave more, if I gave 30, and then this button will become a lot lower, right? So that's how the margin works. Okay, so with that, you can see this getting a little bit lower. That's better. Maybe yeah, I think I'll keep it like that. But another one is that in this design, the button is more like wider. It's like the same width at width at the almost like a container, right? So this one, let's ask GPT. Okay, how to make the button as wide as the parent container. All right, so looks like they're doing something with the size box. Oh, they also have a container. All right, I see. Looks like this line, the width and infinity, that does the job. Okay, let's try that. So margin, width, infinity. All right, let's see how it works. Refresh. All right, see, this button got longer. Okay, and the reason it's not touching the screen because you have the margin here. Okay, you add a 30. Okay, if you do more, like do 50, and then the button will become shorter, smaller. And if you do 20, that's going to become bigger, right? That's how the margin works. But it's important that you already specify the space for it. If you never specify space, that margin is going to mess up the neighbors. All right. So that's a very quick, polishing on that button. They also have the round corner. Just keep asking how to make a button, which is the elevator button, having round corners. So they are going to add a shape property. I actually never used that one before. Let's see. All right, looks like everything else remained the same. So the only thing changed here is the button. Oh wait, so here's the button, unpressed, child, these are the same. So they're adding a style. The style has a color, white, and then the shape. Okay, so let's try this one. Put under our button. So under the child, let's put the style. Okay, there's no syntax errors. That's good. Let's refresh. All right, so see that button got a shape, and then they change the color. Okay, so if I get rid of the color, actually not bad because this one does a purple and white, right? So perfect. So this is the text color. This one we just change it to purple. Okay, and then this one a little bit too much. Let's do it 20. All right, see that one looks similar. Okay, similar to the design. Okay. Now I just want to get rid of this inspector. How do I do that? All right, so I'm gonna just stop. Okay, let's see. And rewrite this. All right, guys. Hopefully, okay. So you see the process how I do this. So I really want to show you this thing step by step. Eventually, you're gonna have a lot of code. Okay, but in 2024, you should realize the very important fact that you really don't need to write that much by yourself. But then it's important you understand the structure, the framework. Okay, if you never learn Flutter, you generate the code, it doesn't mean anything. Okay, you don't know where to plug in the code. All right, so let's try this one more time. We still had our splash screen, which is still works. 2 seconds, go to the home, and then you log in, go to the next one. And that's our doctor's profile screen. So this is the button we play around with. Still a little bit too big, okay? But you can change it later on. Okay. All right, so I guess I'm going to stop here, okay, because a lot of things, even the reading bar, they give you the solution. That's really cool, okay. I never saw about that one. And yeah, so that's what I call it the rapid UI development. Okay. Look at the top levels, allocate space, fill in the widgets, and then eventually polish the widgets. It's a lot of fun. The UI development is really interesting, okay, because they make it nice and professional. It looks good, okay. A lot of the design looks very professional, but you know, it really eventually come down to this very basic attributes. Okay, so all you need to do is figure all these little things like step by step. Again, one more example, like these big areas here, they're also rounded, right? They have a different color. So let's try that one. So if I go to here, go back to this stuff, right? So this one, there's a color. So we're talking about here. How do we make a round corner with a different background color? So generate a code to make a Flutter column with having round corners and a specific background color. So again, wrap the column inside a container. The container is still being used. Container is used very often. Okay. All right. Now you see this is a column, and then they wrap with a container. The container has some paddings, has some decorations. Okay. So let's try that. So this is a column. Wrap that with a container. All right. Right now, nothing happens. That's why nothing changed. But you do a padding, you do a decoration. Let's see what they do. They even give you comments. Let's see what it looks like. Refresh right here. See, that's pretty much the thing we're looking for. Okay, and you got a different color and then the round corner, but then this touches screen too much, and then you're gonna think about the margin, right? So we're gonna do the margin and that one. All right, so a little bit better. Okay, so the margin, you can actually do a different margin for different sizes. I think it's called edges. Only, we call it only. So you can do left 10 and maybe right 20. So you can have different directions. That's how it works. So that you can always adjust it. All right, but yeah, see this one, if you don't know how that works here, you know, just change it. All right. Sorry, just use ChatGPT to give you suggestions. Because once you have this code base, then it's very easy for you to play around with. You can clearly see this is for circle, for the corner, and this is for the color. You know, this one, it's not like that, but it's still great. Yeah, something like this, and then you can start to manipulate more. All right. Does this looks manageable? Yeah. So it's really not that hard. Okay. So, but same thing. But in the beginning, because I've been programming in Flutter for a while, so I actually already know a lot of some marketing stuff. So it's, for me, I read quickly, but it only takes probably 1 or 2 days to start working on this one. You get this a lot of this done very quickly. All right. So that's all I want to share. Okay. Hopefully that helps. Any questions, guys, from Zoom? Any questions? Does this looks okay and helpful for your next step? All right. Well, you know, so within the next 1 or 2 weeks, okay, really try to speed up the UI development. You can play around with an example like this, but you can basically just dive into the app you want to make, because there's so many widgets. Okay, you're not going to use all of them. Okay, just do that based on your design, and you know, play one with the widget. Okay, so try, if you have any questions, feel free to let me know. Okay, but just don't forget about ChatGPT. Okay, so it's really powerful and efficient. All right, so that's all for today. Okay, guys, I will see you next time.